Hey guys, Scrappin'Ear's peer Janelle here, and I've got a little tutorial video for you guys today. I know a lot of you are beginners or new to digital scrapbooking, so I just wanted to show you some fun little introductory things that can get you going when you're setting up your own pages. I know a lot of people start with templates, and there's no shame in that at all. I loved starting with templates, and I still love using templates. They're great time savers. It always amazes me what people are able to come up with, but there is no reason that you can't sort of create your own base template. So I'm going to show you how to set up a page with all of these little squares right here, and you can do it pretty simply. It's really not difficult. It just takes a few minutes to get set up, and the more you use it or choose to do it, the easier it will become for you. So I set up this page. First off, love this boho Christmas kit by Studio Flirks. In case you can't tell by my page, I love flowers and greenery. All things flower and greenery. I will do entire pages in nothing but the florals because I just love it. So, may seem a little overboard or overwhelming to you, and I apologize for that. But yeah, I could not use every single floral in that kit. It was just so pretty. So, we're going to go ahead and get started here. I've created a new page so we can kind of bounce back and forth, and you can see what I'm referring to here as I build this page. So I started with this wire wreath, and I thought it was really cute, but I wanted to kind of frame it with squares. And I love to do geometric things. It makes my scrappy heart happy. I love the symmetry, the simplicity. It just, yeah, makes me happy. So we're going to go ahead and set that up. Now I'm going to turn on my grids here, and I can do that by hitting Control or Command and then apostrophe on my keyboard. And I have mine set up so that there is a guideline every inch, and then that inch within the inch is broken into 1/4 inch sections. Now I set this up so long ago, I don't remember what the Photoshop default is, but if you would like to change yours, it's very simple to do. You go to Edit, Preferences, Guides, Grid, and Slices, and we're going to change the grid portion. Now this is where I've done it right here. Grid line every 1 inch, and then subdivisions 4. So I could change it to say grid line every 2 inches, and you can see that it gives you a preview in the background. But I am going to leave it at 1 inch with 4 subdivisions. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is put that big mat on the background, and I just gave myself a 1/2 inch on each side away from the edge. So I'm going to grab my shape tool. You can do that by hitting the U on your keyboard or just clicking here. And I'm going to come up here and change the fill shape so that it's not white. Otherwise you won't be able to see where you're going here. And then I'm just going to click and drag here. And I got to off-center that a little bit because I didn't start in the wrong spot. So you know what? I'm actually just going to Control or Command Z, undo that, and we'll start it again. Okay, so I've got my 1/2 inch margin on each side. And then if I want to send this to the back, I could always click over here in the Layers panel and drag it to the back, or on your keyboard, Control or Command, Shift, left bracket key will send your selected layer to the very bottom of your document. If you want to bring it to the top, Control or Command, Shift, right bracket key. And so that's just an easy way to toggle back and forth. If you want to take it down 1 layer, you just Control or Command and then bracket key. So instead of holding down the Shift key, it'll take you down 1 layer at a time, or again, opposite, Control or Command, and then the right bracket key will take you up 1 layer at a time. So you'll see I love keyboard shortcuts, and I'll probably show you plenty of those as we go here. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and turn my grid back on. And then I'm going to select off of my rectangle, because if I go to change the color and that rectangle is still selected, it's going to change the selected rectangle, and I don't want to do that. I want to put on new rectangles, and I don't want to be working with black on black. So I'm going to change my fill color to white here. And one thing that you can set up too, if you don't have it already, see, I have mine set up to snap to my grids here, so you can see it doesn't matter where. If I'm in the middle of a square, it is snapping to whatever grid is closest. So I'm going to go ahead and give me a 1.5 inch square, Oh, and you know what? I accidentally set it behind there. Okay, and I'm going to just move it. Let's give me another 1/2 inch. I know I didn't here, but it really doesn't matter. We're just going to set things up and see how we go here. All right, now I am going to take this and set myself up to have these same 1/2 inch margins on the other side. So I'm going to create a copy of this square essentially, and I'm going to do that. I've got my move tool selected, so V on the keyboard or that cursor up there, and I'm going to say Alt or Option, and you'll see that that white cursor flashes up behind the black one, and then I'm going to click and drag, and that has just allowed me to make a copy. And if I hold down the Shift key, it will make it so that you are extending it straight out from where you got it. Oh, and I totally didn't lock it up there. Okay. And now I'm just going to create a few more to kind of fill in the space here. So Alt or Option, click and drag. Alt or Option. Okay, and you know what? I'm actually going to throw one more in there. Let's see how much spacing we've got. So I'm going to come over to my layers panel and I'm going to click the top rectangle and hold down the Shift key and click the bottom one. And that will just select all of those rectangles for me. And then I'm going to distribute horizontal centers. There we go. And now everything has even spacing in between it. Okay, and now I'm actually going to do I'm going to create another copy of these. Just Alt or Option, click and drag. Remember, if I hold the Shift key, it puts them in that straight line. I'm going to bring them so that they are a 1/2 inch out here. Perfect. Now I'm going to do that same thing. If you'll remember here, I did it along the sides. So I'm going to show you how to turn these really quickly. All right, I'm just going to select, and you know what? I don't need the corner ones because I already have corners. I just need the inner 4 here. So I'm going to click, and you know what? I'm going to show my transform controls so you can better see what I'm doing. Sorry about that. I should have had those on the entire time. Click, Shift, click, click. All right, and I'm going to Alt or Option, click and drag. All right, and you can see now that they're dead center. I love that Photoshop does that for you, that they kind of line everything up. And then if you go to the outside corner here, you can see that I've got my transform keys or options. If you don't see that, you can always hit Control or Command T to bring those up for you. And then you can click and drag. And if I hold on the Shift key, it makes it so that I can go in nice 15-degree increments. Otherwise, you're kind of trying to guess and pinpoint where you're going. So if you want 90 degrees, you can just hold down your Shift key until you get there. And then I'm going to click and move these over. And the nice thing is when they match up with this top and bottom here, they kind of stop for you. They kind of hold themselves in place. And I'm just going to do the same thing, Alt or Option. Oh, I have to say Enter, excuse me. Alt or Option. Apply. Dang it. Sorry, I did something goofy there. Alt or Option, click and drag. And there we go. Now I have all of these squares all set up for me. I'm going to turn my grids off. I don't need those anymore. Okay, perfect. So I've got my base template here for everything that's going on here. One thing that I like to do, because if you were to go ahead and clip a different piece of scrapbook paper to every single one of these squares, it's going to be a massive file. So I actually took and did every other square and then merged each of those together into one layer. You could do every 3, you could just do super random, you could leave them all as is and put a different page in every, or attach clip a different paper to everyone. But I'm going to go ahead and select every other here. So I'm going to click and then hold down my Shift key and click every other square. All right, and so you can see I've got all of them selected over here. Now if I want to merge them all together so that they all become one layer, I'm going to do Control or Command E. And now you can see that I've got them all on one layer. So I'm just going to take all of the remaining ones here, click, find that bottom rectangle, Shift and click, And again, Control or Command E to merge those. So there we go. All of our rectangles are now on 2 layers. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start putting some papers on here so that we're not working against this dark surface. I have a keyboard shortcut set up so that for my place options, so mine is Control or Command / and it opens it up to the last place that I pulled something into Photoshop from. So I love to work this way. I don't like having a folder open and dragging things in for some reason. This is just how I was taught to work, so it's how I do it. Again, just using my shortcut for place embed here. I'm just going to start putting some papers on here, and now I'm going to clip this to the rectangle that was underneath it, and to do that, Control or Command Alt or Option G, and that just creates a clipping mask. Love clipping masks. And then I'm going to go ahead and work on these rectangles here. Again, Control or Command Alt or Option G, and grab my last set here. Excuse me. Control or Command Alt or Option G. And there you go. So really, you know, it didn't take terribly long, but it looks like a template. I actually, when I threw this page into our behind the scenes area, somebody asked me if what template I use. And I was like, yay, I love when people think my pages are templates. That makes me feel like professional or something, So it made me laugh. But yeah, so it's not difficult. It does take a little bit of time. Again, the Control or Command apostrophe with your guides can really help you when you're setting things up and trying to get your shapes and your symmetry. And then of course your Alt or Option click and drag, so you can create those exact copies every time. And I like that, when you hold down the Shift key, it just keeps everything nice and straight for you. So I'm actually going to leave this right here. If you want to learn more about drop shadows and manipulating shadows, go ahead and watch the next video. I'll just do a really quick run through of how to add some drop shadows to your layers. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this was helpful, and if you have any questions at all, go ahead and leave me a comment and I'll get back to you. Thanks, guys.